Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be finishing up my Murphy bed project, so stick around and see how it turns out. This is part 2 of this video, so if you have not seen the first part where I built the frame, put all the pieces together, sanded it down, prepped it for paint, go check out that video up in the top right corner before watching this one. I'll leave a link for you there. But I'm going to start off by painting this. I need to put at least 2 coats of paint over every surface. Now I'll save one final coat after that to do once I have moved this cabinet to the place it needs to go, assembled it completely, then I can touch up any scratches that may have happened in the moving process and assembling it, and make sure that everything's covered with a nice fresh clean coat of paint. In case you're wondering, 3 coats of paint on this Murphy bed is going to take almost exactly 1 full gallon of paint. Now after putting 2 coats of paint on this and letting it completely dry, I'm going to come back in. I need to add a few pieces of molding on this cabinet before I install it. There still are a couple that are going to go across the front of the cabinet that I can't put together until the cabinet is fully assembled and screwed together. So I'm just going to be putting on the side moldings for now, but I'm going to be using 1x6 that have already been pre-primed, so I can easily just put one final coat over top of everything once it's installed. Next, I'm going to be framing up the door of the Murphy bed that folds down that the mattress is going to be sitting on, and this I want to look like 2 separate doors so that doesn't look like a Murphy bed, it disguises it a little bit. I'm going to be using the 1x4 moldings that have been pre-primed so that it's a lot easier to put one final coat of paint on this once it's all done and it looks really nice and clean. Now to make this look even more like 2 separate doors, I'm going to add 2 large cabinet door handles onto the front of this. And to do this, I'm going to make a quick guide to make sure that both of the handles are exactly in the middle, lined up on the same spot of the board. All you need is a scrap piece of molding and simply mount the handle onto that molding in the center where you want it to show up on the other boards, and then just put it over top, a same exact distance for each one. And you can simply drill through those holes into the other moldings, leaving the holes exactly in the middle where you want them to be. And you can easily repeat this over however many doors you want to do, and it's probably the easiest way to transfer these holes and make sure that they're all lined up. Now the screw heads on those handles might stick out behind the molding a little bit, so it might get in the way, so I just pre-drilled a hole for each of those screw heads to set down into so they're out of the way. Now to make this look a little bit more realistic, when I mount these moldings on, I'm going to separate them by about 1/8 of an inch, and this really makes it look like any other doors you see. Hardly ever will you see doors right up against each other. They need a little bit of room so that they can swing freely, so that's what that 1/8 inch is for. Now the one thing I didn't build in the last video was the headboard. I'm going to throw this together really quick just with 2 2x4s. Holding all 4 deck boards together, cut a couple inches shorter or more narrow than the folding door that the bed will be mounted onto. Now I'm going to be putting 2 pieces of wood on the ends to keep the boards from warping at all and make sure everything's lined up. I'll put one of those on each side. Now these 2x4s are what's going to be holding it in place. I'll show you guys in just a minute the brackets I'm using for this. It's a really simple, easy way to put it together. Now this metal bracket I'm using you can get at almost any hardware store. It's sized perfectly for a 2x4 to slide into this bracket, and it's really made for like barn doors and fence gates that you can slide a 2x4 through 2 of these and lock doors shut. So this is going to be perfect for this 2x4 to slide into, hold it in place. I put one block right below that so that has a little bit more stability. As you push back on the headboard, it's going to catch itself on that small piece of 2x4 at the bottom. So this is what it looks like when it's together. Now obviously this is tipped over on its side. The whole cabinet cannot tip straight up in my shop. The ceiling is a little bit too low, so it's tipped on its side. It'll look a lot better once I flip this up in place. Now I've got a couple more moldings that I'm going to be putting on the face of this cabinet to cover up the layers of the plywood on the edge. You can see that it's plywood. It looks so much better if you cover this up with a nice thin piece of molding. Now it's finally time to install this. I'm going to take all these pieces, load it up into my truck, and take it over to where I need to install it. So I've got this in 3 parts. The shelves, I'll have the cabinet, the body of the cabinet, and then the large door that folds down. So we're going to quickly assemble this, and I've got a lot of trim and finish work that needs to be done once I have mounted all these pieces together. Now I had to build this in 3 separate pieces because it needs to fit through the doorway. Also, you got to make sure that you don't make this too tall. You can make it exactly the height of what you want it to be if you're building it in place. If not, you need to make sure that you have enough room that if you need to tip it up into place, it's not going to scrape the ceiling and get stuck. So I made it probably 3 inches shorter than the ceiling just so that it will clear us tipping it up into place. Hey guys, don't forget to hit that like button down below. It helps me out a ton, so please hit that like button. Thanks guys. The first step is going to be attaching the bookshelves to the side of the Murphy bed. And you can see I didn't paint the side of the Murphy bed and the side of the shelf. They're going to be going together. That's a waste of paint. They're going to be together, never going to be seen. So I'm going to pre-drill a few holes into this and put a few screws that are not going to go through the other side of the plywood, just enough to hold them together without poking out the other side. Now that the 3 pieces of the cabinet are assembled, I can put the trim on the face of the cabinet, and this is going to make it look so much better. It's going to look completely finished off once I get this trim on the top and bottom of this cabinet. It really covers up all of those screw holes that I've known that are going to be covered up, but they're just an eyesore until you get that final molding on. So it's really hard to tell what it's going to look like until you get all the trim on. Now at the top of this cabinet, a full molding would not fit over this if the door is going to continue to open. I didn't want to have separate pieces or seams in the molding, or else you definitely could tell that this was a Murphy bed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the top molding on with 3 hinges on the top of the cabinet. And this is really easy. As the door opens up, when you pull the Murphy bed down, that board just simply flips up, and as the bed comes down, that board goes back into place, covers it up, and it looks like the molding is right where it needs to be and is really nice. Now, interesting fact about my audience, only 1.8% of my viewers are actually subscribed to my channel. So if you guys watch my content, have enjoyed it, find it helpful, hit that subscribe button down below and help me out. Thanks guys. Now right here you'll be able to see how that molding works. You don't even have to touch it when you're pulling the bed down. It just rides right up over top of that bed frame. And once you're putting it up, it's a little bit harder. You have to reach around the bed to flip that up out of the way while you're closing the bed. But it's really not too hard at all to do that. Next, I'm going to be taking some caulk and filling in all the nail holes from a nail gun and making sure anything that's exposed is smooth and will accept the final coat of paint. Once I have that caulking done, I'll let it dry for a few minutes, and come right over with a fresh coat of paint and make sure that everything looks nice and clean. Now, one thing I didn't mention before, the top board on the inside of this cabinet, I put 3 long screws through that into the 2x4 studs in the wall, and this really is just in case anything crazy would happen. This is 2 feet wide, a crazy heavy cabinet. It's not going anywhere, seems very stable, but just in case like a earthquake or kids climb on the shelves or someone pulls on it when they're not supposed to, this isn't going to come down. It's going to be stuck up against the wall and perfectly safe. Also, to hold the door from falling down itself, I put a pin up at the top where the shelves are. I drilled a hole straight through the shelves into the bed frame itself, and I have a pin in there that you can slide into place. It's out of reach for kids, so they can't pull it out and the bed fall on them. It's safe out of the way, and it definitely holds it in place really well. Now, to make sure that the mattress doesn't slide at all when you tip the door up, I'm going to be using 4-foot long bungee straps. They're easily removable, so once you're done moving this up and down, you can easily take those off, make the bed, and sleep in it. They're not going to be in the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 4 electrical conduit mounts that are meant for mounting electrical conduit pipe up against the wall. I'm going to be putting 2 screws in each of those, and it's just a loop that you can hook that bungee strap through. Makes it really nice. You don't have to drill holes in the wood or anything. It's just something that you could easily add once you're done with a project. So you just simply go across the mattress, hook it in place, and then you can tip it up and down and it stays in place. It slides only about 1 inch to 2 inches in my experience. It doesn't go very far at all, because the farther it goes, the tighter those bungee straps get. So it works really well. You don't want to put something too tight, or else it might end up crushing the springs and messing up your bed. So this is just something pretty gentle. It's not going to hurt the bedding or the mattress at all. So take a look at the final product of this bed. It looks really nice in their space. It's for a mini house or studio area that they've got, and it fits perfectly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you like this video, hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.